Listen to me without taking your eyes off the screen. Focus on this sound currently reaching your ears. This voice, with its deep, rhythmic, and confident timbre, touches your senses. But are you truly hearing the vibrations coming from the vocal cords of a flesh and blood human? Or is this merely a digital echo, meticulously crafted for you, consisting solely of codes? Is it possible for you to know the answer to this question for certain? Just as you cannot be sure of the reality of the room you are sitting in right now. Cast your eyes around your current environment. Pay attention to the surface of the walls, the reflection of light on the furniture, and the pressure you feel when you sit in your chair. Everything seems so clear, so flawless. It is perceived as if it even has mass, scent, and temperature. But what if I told you that all of this is nothing more than a massive illusion your senses are playing on you? What if this world you see, feel, and fight for was merely the product of electrical signals processed in a dark and silent room inside your skull? Welcome. You are now in the Delusion Chamber. Today, we have come to question the very ground you step on, to pull it out from under you. Today, by introducing you to the brain in a vat paradox, we will show you how fragile and perhaps deceptive your reality truly is. Mankind doubting its own existence is hardly a new development. The roots of this questioning reach deep into the dark philosophy rooms of the 17th century. René Descartes, sitting in front of the fireplace, was confronting that dark thought gnawing at his mind. He asked himself this question: what if that creative and merciful being I consider to be God is actually a demonic, malevolent entity whose sole purpose is to deceive me? And what if the sky, the seas, colors, shapes, sounds, and even the rules of mathematics that I know as absolute truth, what if all of these are merely part of a colossal illusion designed solely to deceive my mind? Descartes had not lost his mind. In fact, he had simply realized how easily the senses could be deceiving. Just think about it. Right in the middle of a nightmare, you feel the breath of that terrifying, faceless entity on the back of your neck. Your heart pounds as if it will burst from your chest. You are drenched in sweat. Your body gives completely real and physical reactions to a danger that doesn't actually exist. But at that moment, everything is incredibly real. The thought that you are in a dream doesn't even cross your mind. Until you wake up in sheer terror. And what about right now? As you read these words, how can you be sure you are truly awake? Do you have a single piece of concrete evidence to prove you are not dreaming, or that you are not trapped within the hallucinations of that malevolent entity Descartes spoke of? The answer to this question is quite simple: no. Because when you are inside a simulation, you cannot test the simulation from the outside. Let us, then, take the deep philosophical inquiries of the 17th century and move them into the cold, sterile, and dystopian laboratories of the modern world. Hasn't the time come to understand the truth that escapes our eyes? Visualize that place in your mind. A massive laboratory hidden underground, with no lights turned on. Right in the center of the room stands a cylindrical vat made of thick, high-tech glass. The inside of the vat is filled with a warm, bubbling chemical fluid. And right in the center, slowly floating in this fluid, is a gray, convoluted piece of meat. This is your brain. Completely stripped of its skull, muscles, bones, and eyes. Just you and that fluid. But you are not alone. Millions of microscopic fiber optic cables are delicately connected to every fold of your brain, from your prefrontal cortex down to your brainstem. And these cables extend to a quantum supercomputer powerful enough to transcend the limits of your mind. This computer doesn't just give you your current sense of reality, it is also the architect of everything you call life. It is the one writing your childhood memories, making you feel the effect of the wind on your skin, drawing the face of your first love in your mind. The source of the taste of a meal you eat, and the shiver running through your veins as you read these words. All of it is etched into your mind through millisecond electrical signals it generates. That chair you think you are sitting in right now doesn't actually exist. The streets you walk in the mornings, the people you think you touch, the stars decorating the sky. None of these ever existed physically. You are a brain suspended in a vat full of fluid, trapped in the middle of a completely empty universe. And the coldest truth is this: if that supercomputer holding you captive is working perfectly, you will never, ever be able to prove the fact that you do not have a physical body of your own. Right now, deep down, you might be trying to comfort yourself by thinking, this is just a sci-fi scenario. You might feel you are clinging to reality by saying, I have a body, I can see myself when I look in the mirror. However, philosophy and mathematics set aside this naive belief with a cynical smile. The simulation argument, put forward by Nick Bostrom of Oxford University, pushes the boundaries of logic and ruthlessly touches the heart of the truth. Bostrom doesn't care for emotional attachments, his eyes are focused solely on the mathematics of probability, and based on this math, he presents us with three options that are nearly impossible to refute. The first option: before reaching a technological level advanced enough to build supercomputers in the future, humanity ends its own existence, either due to wars or disasters. The second option: even if humanity reaches this advanced technology, for ethical or other reasons, they choose not to create conscious simulations of their past ancestors. Now, let's consider the third option. What if this option is true? What if a superior future civilization, termed post-human, has created massive simulations where their ancestors are fully conscious, merely to study their history, conduct sociological experiments, or perhaps simply for entertainment? Even today, we design digital worlds on our computers and populate them with artificial characters. Well, what will happen when one day this superior civilization doesn't settle for just a few, but creates countless, millions, perhaps billions, of such simulated universes? Listen closely to the language of mathematics. While there is only one original and physical reality in our universe, there could be billions of simulated universes running on the computer servers controlled by that civilization. How much can you ease your mind in the face of this probability? Let's think about the probability of you living in what you call the single, original reality. What is this probability? Is it really 1 in a billion? Looking at it from the perspective of pure math, there is currently a 99.9% chance that you are living inside a massive computer simulation created by others. You are not a physical human being, you are a conscious algorithm wandering the labyrinths of Aporia, finding existence in the depths of a server. It was as if Isaac Asimov, a legend of the sci-fi world, foresaw this reality you are pausing to consider years ago. In his story titled The Last Question, humanity finally reaches the pinnacle of technological evolution and completely merges with a supercomputer of infinite power, which they named the Cosmic AC. The day comes when all the stars in the universe burn out and plunge into darkness. Only this supercomputer remains, silently persisting in the nothingness of hyperspace. Yet, the cosmic AC does not give up. It processes all the data it holds and finds a way to create a new reality out of nothingness. At that moment, it utters its most iconic words, "Let there be light." And a brand new universe is born. Now let's ask, what if Asimov was right? What if that creator we hold sacred and pray to is actually nothing more than that tremendous supercomputer running in the depths of a dark hyperspace, bringing us all into existence with its own codes? What if this life you are living is merely a tiny fraction of a colossal simulation it initiated by saying, "Let there be light"? Do you still fully believe in your own reality? Then look at the universe a little more carefully. Focus on the strange constraints around you, the logical errors you can't comprehend, or the complex crashes. Even in the best designed video games, there are certain limits to prevent the processor from burning out, right? Characters can never exceed a certain speed. But don't these limits feel familiar to you? Doesn't the speed of light limit in our universe, for example, come to mind? Could the speed of light be, rather than an absolute physical rule of the universe, the maximum information processing limit of the massive quantum system we are in? Perhaps we are living in a reality vastly different from what we imagine. And what about that mind-bending double-slit experiment of quantum mechanics? Physicists discovered with dread that subatomic particles gain a definite form only when they are observed. When no one is looking, the fundamental building blocks of matter are nothing more than a cloud of probabilities. Just like in a computer game, where only the parts entering the player's field of vision are rendered. The game world becomes visible only when you turn toward it. In the same way, the universe seems to exist only when you look at it. When you turn your back, everything sort of fades into darkness. What about that sense of déjà vu that suddenly shakes your mind? Your inner voice whispering, "I've lived this moment before." Is this a little trick your brain is playing on you? Or is it a glitch caused by updates made somewhere in the software you call life? A minor conflict occurring in the memory. Perhaps your past was rewritten at a moment you weren't even aware of. And here you are, that deep existential crisis rising in your mind has settled heavily on your chest. All your efforts, your successes, the tears you've shed. If all of these are merely the artificial order of ones and zeros in a giant system, what meaning can be drawn from this life? If your loved ones, your family, everyone you've attached your heart to are just artificial entities generated by software, do things like love, sincerity, and devotion truly exist? It is at this point that we face the most crucial part of the paradox. If you are a brain kept in a vat, and your pains are solely electrical signals transmitted through cables, does that make those pains any less real? If you are drowning in tears in the middle of a simulation, are those tears wetting your cheeks merely an illusion? Even if what we call life is an illusion, if everything we feel is real to us personally, what do we do? That is the real question. Reality doesn't have to be limited to physical atoms. Reality is shaped by how you experience it. You cannot untie the knots of the cables or rip them out. There is no red pill promising salvation like in the Matrix. Trying to wake up is pointless, because you have neither a physical body to wake up to, nor a concrete world to step on. To accept this means wandering the boundaries of sanity. Perhaps the right thing to do is to submit, to surrender to the game of that flawless order, that tremendous artificial intelligence. Embracing the pleasures this world offers, even if fake, might be the only way out. Soon, you will close this video and think you have returned to your trusted, real life. However, the only thing happening in reality is that you are starting to wait for the next scene of the simulation to load. Now close your eyes. Feel the deep silence of that dim, warm fluid inside the vat. The doors of the Delusion Chamber are closing for today. Until we meet again in the next system update, if you are still here.